Okay, this is now the 5 Minute Tower for the 2nd of July 2017, and today is different because we're introducing Robert. And yesterday I said, pick a card and tell me what to do next, and make a video and send it via WeTransfer, and I'll do something with it. And Robert very kindly did his first video and sent it to me. And so what I was originally going to do a split screen effect where I've got one picture up here and one down here, and then we could switch back and forth as Robert spoke and then I spoke. But I cannot figure out how to sync up the audio. I can get the pictures, but then I just do not know what to do. So for the moment anyway, there's going to be me, and then we'll cut to Robert, and then we'll cut back to me as I give comments, and then back to Robert, and so on. And that's what it's going to look like. So in a moment, and there may be abrupt cuts between the different people only because it might be awkward. I don't know. Haven't done this before, so it's kind of an experiment as well. So we'll do this today and see what happens, and then we'll develop it as time goes by. So here's Robert.
Hey John, this is Rob Barnett. I've been a follower of your channel for a few months now, and I'm fairly new to reading the tarot. And I want to thank you personally for your videos. They really have helped me out a lot, and given me a lot of insight into reading the cards, not only to know the meaning of the cards, but to also be able to put my own meanings to the cards, and how to give readings that aren't necessarily about knowing the future or anything like that, but to give the person whom I'm reading for the highest and best good, and use the tarot to help them create the best future for themselves. And
So Robert just mentioned about helping people, questioners, create the best future for themselves. And I think this is a good position to take for anybody doing readings for other people. Because if you think of it, if you say to yourself, let's say things go wrong, and you say to yourself, why am I such a loser? Then you're going to come up with all sorts of reasons why you're a loser. But that's just sort of reinforcing the fact that you haven't worked, that you've failed, let's say, or things haven't worked out. But if you ask yourself, how can I become a winner? Or how can I make an improvement? Then you're also going to come up with lots of reasons how you can become a winner. And so Robert's position of to wanting the best future for the people asking the questions is kind of automatically going to get him to think of good things to say and think of the right things to say. Because, I mean, I say the right things to say, that he's going to be able to come up with answers to people's questions to help them become the best that they can be. And this is because his position is wanting to be of service, let's say, or wanting to be of use to the people asking the questions. So if you as a reader have that kind of attitude as well, then you can worry that you're not doing a good reading. You can wonder if you really ought to stop doing readings for people. But actually, if you've got that starting point of wanting to suggest what can be done for people to bring out the best that they've got, you're going to be able, you're actually doing it, even if you don't see it for yourself.
I think that's your approach, and I really appreciate that, because I'm in this to help people, which you are, and hopefully one day be able to teach people as well.
So Robert just said or spoke about maybe one day he would teach people, and I mentioned this a while ago, that you should all be thinking about writing a book or having a blog or a website because it's important to teach people. And the reason it's important is because the best way to learn something is to teach it. Because you've got to stay one step ahead of the students. You don't have to know everything. You just have to know a little bit more than they do. So that when you go into a class or you're teaching people about the tarot, you're going to tell them something about court cards. And that means that you have to have some ideas about what court cards are. And if you're having a conversation in your head with the three people in your class, let's say, and you know that Tom's going to be difficult and Billy's going to say this and Betty's going to say something else because she's got a particular interest. She's going to want to know about court cards as romantic partnerships, let's say. Whereas Billy is going to want to know about court cards as business people because you know him and he's involved with business. So it means that you, the reader, and you, the teacher, are now going to have to think, okay, what kind of business person is the King of Cups? What kind of romantic partner is the King of Cups? And it gets you thinking about cards in a different kind of a way. And it's all because you know you have to stay one step ahead of your students, whoever they happen to be.
So I did pick a card for you. I picked the Seven of Swords in response to your question, what would be the best way to move your channel forward? And with the Seven of Swords, we can see, generally this card, people like to talk about, getting away with something or, stealing. But, when I kind of look at this card in the context of your question, we see the man there with the swords in his hand. My eyes kind of drew towards the way that he's holding the swords as he's taking them. And it just looks like he's going to cut himself or, hurt himself in a way. And he's not carrying them in a very efficient way. And I think that might be kind of, might be the gist of the answer to your question in my mind, because, I look at this card as kind of being about efficiency. And I think, it could be possible that, the way you're doing things now might be a little too taxing for you, the way that you're doing it now.
Okay, Robert mentioned with this Seven of Swords that maybe it's doing all this a bit taxing. And I can understand why he would say that, but I'm not doing anything else anyway. I kind of enjoy it. But he did mention about carrying the 5 swords, and it's not that efficient. And the thing is, I think it's interesting because when I suggested that people make a video and send it to me, that was all I thought. I didn't think beyond, okay, let's say a bunch of people send me a video and then I've got to do something with it. But I didn't think about what I might have to do and because then I have to figure out audio and video and how to put things together, and I have to use the program differently from what I've been used to, so I actually just did it and just said it, not really thinking through what would be involved or what could be involved. There was a fellow I saw years ago, and his position was, if you've got a gun or a bow and arrow, and so his position was ready, fire, aim. Not ready, aim, fire, which is a normal way of doing it. And I kind of liked his ready, fire, aim, so that with this idea of you making videos and sending them to me, that was ready, fire. Now I've got to aim. Now I've got to figure out what actually and specifically I'm going to do with these videos. But the other thing was looking at the picture we got, and Robert mentioned the 2 swords stuck in the ground. And so maybe we've got the two swords in the ground represent two videos. So we've got the clip of the person who sent it to me, and we've got the clip of me speaking. So we've got two stuck in the ground, and the five, the person walking away, represents you, the viewer, taking away what you can or taking away what you want from what has appeared on from the two people in the video. That's one way of looking at that Seven of Swords that we've probably never considered before, and maybe we'll never consider it again, but it's adding to our general understanding of what the Seven of Swords can be and what it might represent.
Because it seems like you put a lot of energy into what you're doing, which I'm thankful for. But you should get enjoyment out of it too. And when I look at this card, you see he had to leave a couple of things behind, and I'm thinking maybe it would be in your best interest to maybe get some people to help you in some way. I really like the idea of doing this with the kind of video blogs and having discussions about the tarot with people. Maybe that is where you want this to. I think that will be kind of the best course. Is to kind of get other people involved to help you with this. And
so Robert mentioned about getting a team together, and that's really completely right. I've kind of been working on it, but I haven't actually got members of the team yet. But I have sort of sent out the thought, okay, I need somebody to do paperwork and that, or somebody who can deal with social media, because I like making stuff, making videos. I don't want to have to deal with follow-up and planning and organizing and so on. I just like to do stuff. So I could do with people maybe locally who could come in here and put stuff together for me. So yes, Robert, you're right. I need a team. And the thing is, I can't do it all on my own. I've been trying to do it all on my own up until this point, and I've developed a certain ability. But I really, if I'm going to handle a bigger scale of activity, then I can't really do it on my own anymore. So I am trying to become more businesslike. And that's one of the reasons that I like the Future channel, because it's all about, well, in that case, it's about the business of design, but he suggests various speakers and books and so on, and approaches to creative endeavors and creative projects that I'm trying to incorporate into my daily habits, but I don't really have any habits but I'm working on it. So Robert, yes, a team is a good idea, and I'm trying to get one together.
There aren't very many communities out there that there's communities, but it's more of like a forum type of a deal. But I really like the idea of the collaboration. So if there's anybody out there who can help you kind of do things more efficiently, maybe you can hand off some of the doing other videos to other people and have them under your channel.
Okay, and Robert just mentioned or spoke a little bit about collaboration, and that's one of the reasons. I completely agree, but that's one of the reasons that I'm encouraging you, all of you watching this, to have your own website or your own blog and to be writing your own book. And so I'm the reason I wanted you to make a video and send me the video and I can put it together is to get you to take the first step, that you've now made a video and you've seen yourself on the internet, and then you can be more motivated to get a HostGator account, let's say, and set up your own little website or set up your own blog. So if I can do the first few steps for you and do it a few times, maybe I'll put together some kind of instructional video on how to put a website together, even though there's lots of things out there already. But the thing is, if you, let's say there's 50 of you out there and you've all got your own website, as you present ideas and discoveries and thoughts, as you put stuff onto the internet, we can comment, and in commenting, we can move things forward. So if we have something to say, we have somewhere that we can say it, and what we say might be useful to you, or it might make you realize you know an awful lot more than you give yourself credit for. And so, but if we've got good blogs and websites where the people aren't just repeating what they read in a book, but they're sort of actively creating tarot understanding within themselves and recognizing what's going on and putting it out there, that sort of develops a bigger understanding of the tarot. And I think that's going to be useful. But it's up to really, it's up to people, regular people, to put up blogs and websites.
Might be a good idea. I don't know. It's just a thought, and I hope it's helpful to you. Like I said, I was gonna pick a card earlier and kind of think about what I was gonna say, but I kind of wanted to get out of my comfort zone. I've never done a video before for anybody actually, so this is my first video ever, and yeah, so that helped me actually. So I don't know. It's just something to think about. And again, I appreciate your work, and I hope you're doing well. And thank you.
So that was Robert's first video, he said, and you have to admit it was pretty good. I know you didn't see the whole thing without breaks, but he's comfortable and reassuring. And I can imagine people going to him for a reading and leaving an awful lot more relaxed and confident about the future than they were before they went in. And he also said it was good for him to go outside his comfort zone. So when you have doubts, or there's something you'd like to do but you don't think you can, or you're worried about something, remember Robert, what he did and how well he came across, and the fact that he did it instead of thinking, I'd like to but I'm not going to, or it's a nice idea but I'm not actually going to do it. He actually went outside his comfort zone and got a good result. And ideally, he'll go on to bigger and better project and bigger and better things. And if you worry, if you're anxious about something, remember Robert and what he did. Okay, that was Robert's video. And so if you have comments, leave a note down below or send me an email. And at the same time, as Robert did, send me a video picking a card, either for what you should do next, and we can discuss that, or else what I should do next with the channel, or what we should do next to develop the channel. So make the video, send me the MP4 file or a QuickTime as Robert did. Don't make it too long just because of the file size. Maybe Robert's was 5 minutes, which is a good length. And then we've got compression with YouTube and the whole bit. So that's kind of it. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow and we'll see what happens. Okay, bye-bye.